What if I told you I could give you 5 easy tips to make your recordings sound better than they ever have before? Would you be interested? Of course you would be interested. Look, man, I'm an artist. I know a lot of y'all who watch me are artists, and I thought, man, what could I give to y'all to help you become better artists behind the mic? A lot of this comes from me listening to the songs that comes in through my live music reviews every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to know more about that, you can tap in with me, send me a message, and I'll link you in. But here we go. These are 5 tips that's going to make you a better artist behind the mic. Number 1, mic placement. You just get in the booth and you just start spitting, you just start singing or rapping or whatever it is, and whatever comes out is what comes out. But did you know that the quality and the sound of your vocals is affected majorly by the placement that you have between your mouth and the microphone? So we're going to use my trusty old wireless Shure mic for an example. Your mic has an EQ to it, and that EQ changes depending on how far away your mouth is to it versus how close. If you want that deeper sounding vocal, your mouth needs to be closer. If you want more air or you want more highs in your vocals to come through, then that mic needs to be a little bit further away. But there's a sweet spot that you can find with your vocals just by changing the position of your mic and how far away it is from your mouth. I've done mixing and mastering for people, and I get their vocal tracks in, and it's got a lot of muddiness and low-end rumble to it that could be corrected if their mouth was just a little bit further away. Some microphones pick up more low end than other microphones, so you have to judge this according to your microphone. For instance, condenser mics do a whole lot better job at picking up the higher end than dynamic microphones such as this one. You don't want too much low end muddiness, and you don't want too much air and too much space between your mouth and the microphone, because then you're going to create this distance that doesn't capture the body of your vocals. A good rule of thumb is to have your pop filter, which is this. If you don't have one, you need to get one. They're really cheap. You can buy them on Amazon for really cheap. Find one, get one, hook it up, and have your pop filter about a fist length away from your microphone, minimum. And then from your pop filter, minimum a fist away from your pop filter, even more at some times. Now, some of you record with a pop filter and you have that distance and your vocals are still coming in muddy. Back away from the mic a little bit, and that'll do wonders for your vocals already. So number 1, mic placement, huge ordeal, because not only does it capture the body of your vocals properly, but your mic has an EQ of it in and of itself that can affect and shape how your vocals come into the DAW. Number 2, performance. Think of yourself as a performer when you're behind a mic recording. And the best way to perform and get the performance out of your vocal takes is to be the artist that you are. Think of it this way. When you're on stage, you don't think about how you're sounding when you're rapping or when you're singing. You're belting it out there. Your heart is into it. You're moving, all of that stuff. And when you're behind the mic recording in your vocal booth or wherever it is, you might not be able to move around as much as you are when you're on stage, but you could still bring the heart into it. You could still bring that drive into it to provide the best performance that you could possibly get. Because people not only just hear your vocals, they feel them. And it's hard to feel a person's passion when they're not passionate behind the mic. So there's technical things that, need to be considered, mic placement and things like that. When it comes to your performance, just be you behind the mic and let it come out in an authentic way. You have to record behind the mic as though you are recording for an audience of the whole world. You're performing for them, man, but you're doing it in a vocal booth behind a mic. Don't skip on this tip here. Number 3, be authentic. And this kind of ties into performance, but it's a little different. You don't want to try to sound like somebody else. You don't want to try to be somebody else when you're in the booth, when you're behind the mic. You want to be yourself. Allow what you feel wants to come out to come out. There's hundreds of thousands of artists releasing music every day, y'all. And we need to hear you, not some other version of somebody else. And yeah, your music might sound like somebody else, but you are the only you out there. And this kind of ties into insecurity. And what I mean is that sometimes we have a feeling of performing in a certain way or doing a song in a certain way that maybe nobody's done before, but you're not sure that you should do it that way because you're concerned about how people will think about it. You got to get that out of your mind, man, because I would almost guarantee that Whatever you do as your authentic self coming through the mic is going to sound way better than you holding back and trying to do what everybody else wants. So yes, you got to get better at your craft. Yes, you got to do things and learn things to get better. You have to stop doing some things and start doing other things. All that stuff comes into play, but you're never going to bring your full authentic self, your best performance, if you're not being truly authentic to who you are when you're recording. So be you, bro. Number 4, listen. It's really hard to know if you really captured what you wanted to come out if you don't take the headphones off and get behind the monitors, speakers, whatever, and listen to what you just recorded. I have learned that there's been times where it felt like I emphasized certain words, or my vocals sounded high enough to me in my head, or I sounded like I was doing a thing with my vocals that I thought I was doing, but once I listened to it in my monitors, I realized I was off. I didn't capture that harmony that I thought I heard in my head. I didn't capture those high notes that I thought I heard in my head. And sometimes you could just do a punch in and fix that, but other times you just do the whole recording all over again. So record your vocals and then listen to what you just recorded. Last one for now, number 5 is going to be don't mix your songs when you're recording. Now, I know I might get some pushback for this because a lot of people, they go into a studio and they're hiring somebody to record them, and then they're mixing and then they're recording all in the same session. I get that. There are people who do that for a living and can do that very well. This really applies to people who are doing this in home studios like what I have here. Separate your mixing days from your recording days. When you're in recording mode, you want your mindset to be in that recording mode. You are a performer showing up to perform behind a microphone to do all that you came to do. Leave the mixing for another time. Mixing is a whole different mindset than performing. And if you implement this, you'll find that you'll get so much more done, so many more songs recorded and ready for mixing. And when you get into mixing, you'll accomplish so much more with mixing because you're in that separate mind space and you can devote all of your energy to that time, whether it's recording your vocals or whether it's mixing and mastering. And sometimes even you're mastering on a different day. So there it is, man. There's the 5 easy tips to make your recordings to be better than what they are now. I hope it helped you out. If you want to catch me on my live music reviews Friday nights, it's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find me on Facebook at Word Rat Rapper, or you can find me on YouTube. I broadcast live there as well. Search me on YouTube, Word Rat. You'll find me. You'll see my logo on there. Hope this helps y'all out. Peace, man. Love y'all.